Welcome, everyone, back to another episode of the Unleash Your Radiance podcast. I'm your host, Lorena Christine, and today I'm joined by a very special guest who I'm so excited to welcome onto the podcast. We are joined today by Kim, who is a soul purpose and coach and retreat host. Kim's passion is inspiring and guiding women on transformative and spiritual journeys, helping them uncover their soul's calling and empower them to manifest their aspirations. Kim is a certified life and success coach, breathwork facilitator, meditation facilitator, women's circle facilitator, hypnotherapist, NLP practitioner, sound healer, and retreat host as the CEO and founder of Coherence Retreats. And she also focuses on creating transformative experiences that integrate wellness, healing practice, travel, and fostering a supportive community for personal development. Kim, welcome. Thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited to have you here as well. Kim, I always love to ask guests when they come on to the podcast, what does radiant living mean to you?
Yes, thank you for so much for asking that because right now I'm in Costa Rica and I'm looking outside my window and I wish I could show you my view because I'm here at the beach and I can see the waves crashing, the pool and the sun and the fruit and just being in this such high vibration at this moment and really looking at my entire life as a piece of art.
Mm,
And to me, I really think radiant living is doing just that, like creating your life as a piece of art, a masterpiece. And by doing so, being in places that light you up and being around people that light you up and doing work that lights you up and just yeah, radiance is to me something that's lit up. It's radiant. So yeah, creating your life as a masterpiece in every single bucket of your life. And yeah, just attuning that to the highest frequencies and surrounding yourself with that in every aspect of your life.
oh my gosh, I have like goosebumps after hearing you say all that. I absolutely love that. I think that's so beautiful that you said looking at your life as like a piece of art. And I think so often, so many of us forget to do that because we're just going through the motions of life, being so busy. So many of us can be stuck in this like lack scarcity mindset and like not paying attention to like, how can I actually create more beauty and bring more art into my life as well? So that's such an incredible way to view that. Kim, I'd love to know that, as I know you talk a lot about on your content, on your platforms as well, around kind of the spiritual awakening, the dark night of the soul, and like very open about your journey into spiritual entrepreneurship and into diving deeper into the personal development work. Can you walk us a little through about your story and kind of how you got involved in this area of work and also bringing this as a way of like being in your life?
Yeah, I'm happy to. So to me, I was very much like living in this very matrixy kind of world, right? The matrix to
Mhm.
me is our own personal relationship and attachment to systems that were defined as ways to keep us small. And it's like, what is your relationship to those systems? And I was very much playing that game of like, okay, I need to live life at this very way that I was programmed and told that I had to live life. And I actually grew up all over the world. Every 2 to 3 years, I moved to another country growing up because my father was a diplomat and he was also in the military. So I was exposed to a lot of different ways of living, but still I had this programming into me that I had to, follow this matrixy path of going to school, going to college, getting a 9 to 5, working in corporate until you're 60, having the white picket fence, and like just like that
Yeah.
formula that we were all told. And once I graduated college, I was bartending for a little bit. I saved up all my money and I was like, let me get out of here. Let me get as far away as possible because I went to college in Virginia and I just like despise it so much.
Okay.
And I traveled for a little bit. I went to South Africa, I went to Australia, I went backpack Southeast Asia, and then went to New York City because I like ran out of money, need to get a job again. And so I went to New York City and I fell for the story. I fell for this programming of like, okay, now I need to go for my 9 to 5 corporate life. Like I was like living this dream life, but I was like, okay, I can't like, this can't be my actual reality anymore. I need to like, go back into what I've been told is the only way to be successful. So when I moved to New York City, I got a corporate role working in the pharmaceutical industry, so unaligned,
I was gonna
working
say,
crazy hours. Yeah, working
yeah,
crazy hours. We're working in the office in the big city, and I was just fully depressed. Like my
yeah,
my soul was like screaming to me every single day, like, this is not it. This is like, there's got to be more to life than this. Like, what are you doing? Especially as someone who was exposed to like such a massive world and all these different ways of living at such a young age. I was like, what am I doing in this office every single day? Like, working my ass off. And I literally became depressed, and my body literally started to reject the emotions that I was going through. And I was sent to the hospital twice. The linings of my lungs became so inflamed that it hurt to breathe.
Wow.
It was like my body was rejecting my lifestyle. And I will never forget, my father came to visit me in New York, and he was like, "You are like, this is not the Kim I know." And so I didn't have a backup plan. I just knew that I needed to restart. So I quit my job. I like bought a one-way ticket to Nicaragua. I went back to bartending for a little bit, and I was like, I'm gonna just figure it out. I need to like get to know who I am at a deep personal level. Because I also, there was a missing piece of like not knowing what I actually wanted in
Yeah.
my life. You know, I was in my
Yeah.
early and mid 20s, and I was like, I didn't know who I was yet. So that really started to me, like my journey of personal development was like going through this like deep dark night of the soul of like depression, being sent to the hospital, not knowing what I wanted, feeling just so unaligned in my city and my job and every aspect of my life, my lifestyle, my relationships. And so what started it for me was like this nightly devotion to journaling. I started journaling and writing prompts every single day. Like, I'm going to like look up journaling prompts on the internet, and every single night I'm going to answer a prompt. And
Mm.
so that started like my journey of self-development, of personal development, and like discovering who I am and like bringing things to the surface for me. And then I also started going to yoga, devoting like 3 times a week of going to yoga and just like coming back into my body, mind, body, spirit. And then yeah, after that, I decided, you know what, I need to like leave New York. And I did. I went down to Mexico for a little bit, got laid off from my job there, and then I like moved to LA. A lot of stars were aligning to LA. Eventually I moved to LA. And at this point, I was already kind of pretty deep in my journey of like yoga and personal development to self-discovery, that I just went deeper and deeper and deeper. And that's kind of what happens in LA. Like, you're surrounded by people in this like
Yeah, I can
wellness,
imagine.
personal, yeah, development space that you just go deeper and deeper. And so I did. I became a sound healer and a breathwork facilitator. And I just like started to learn all these other different modalities, and just like went really deep as a student before I became a teacher and before I became a practitioner. So that's kind of how the dark night of the soul like turned for me.
Yeah, wow. That's such a journey. Thank you so much for sharing so much of that. I'm sure a lot of the listeners can like definitely see themselves in your story. I know I can, the way you were describing it, because something similar happened to me. I was living that version, but in Toronto, in Canada. But it seems like on the outside, everything looked great. Was like living that, going to work 9 to 5, hustling, living in the city. But I was very similar to you. I was so empty on the inside and feeling so depressed that I nearly had a breakdown in 2016. And that was like, I sort of reverted my whole life around, quit my job, moved to Australia. So really similar stories. It was like, that was that pivotal moment, and like never felt happier. Like there was just so much alignment felt, because you can feel it so much in the body, can't you? When like you are not in alignment, and it's like, okay for a bit of time, but eventually it will catch up to you. And like, it's screaming at you, like you need to make a change. This is not what your soul is desiring. So yeah,
Mhm.
thank you so much for sharing that. And
Yeah.
I'd love to know, like, sort of what really got you into kind of becoming a soul purpose coach? Like, what was that initial calling from traveling around, bartending, working in pharmaceutical? Which, yeah, that just sounds so unaligned given the work you're doing now. But
Yeah. So I'm happy to chat about it. I kind of scratched the surface with pharmaceuticals. What I was actually doing was working in recruitment for the pharmaceutical industry. So I was my corporate career, I was working in recruitment and talent acquisition and career development for 9+ years. So
okay, wow.
in many different industries. So in pharmaceutical was like one of the first ones, but I
Yeah.
also did this in technology and media and pharma and wellness too. I worked for Headspace, was my last like corporate job, was working for Headspace. So that was
Oh,
really
wow.
aligned. But Yeah, I was really helping people change careers or pivot careers or get promotions or, like just like helping with the career process. So I have a lot of experience actually on the corporate side of career development. So when I started my spiritual journey and really aligning my work with my purpose and my work with my soul's calling, I was like, wait, more people need to do this. And so that's kind of where I got accredited as a life coach, but I used my own personal magic of my spiritual journey as a facilitator in all these different modalities and as my like corporate recruitment career development experience for 9 years. And I married them together. And I was like, I'm going to help people activate their soul's calling so that they can step into alignment with work that feels in alignment to their soul's calling. So not that I think that your whole purpose has to do with your work. That's like
Mhm.
one big bucket of it for sure.
Yeah.
It's so much more than that, which is kind of what help teach people, like kind of how I was saying before, creating your whole life as art. It's like aligning every single bucket of that. But yes, a big part of that is the work that you do. And that is a lot of the time, a lot of people come to me for that type of stuff too,
Okay,
especially in
amazing.
the spiritual space. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you like mixed your corporate background, but brought that into like what comes from what seems like a very non-spiritual space into like your spiritual space of helping people align more to their soul purpose and their calling. That's such like a beautiful way
Hmm.
to integrate it. And also like if you were, I'm not sure, were you in a position where you're sort of still like transitioning between like the corporate and into your own business at that point in time?
Um, I guess when I started coaching, I was in the transitionary period. Yeah, but now I'm doing this full time. So, yeah, I think there was for me. And I think a lot of people need to understand like stepping into your purpose doesn't necessarily mean that you have to take the path of like going all in. I'm going to take the leap. I'm going to quit everything and just like go
Yeah.
for it. That's like one way of doing it for sure. And, there's a lot of risk with that. There's
Hmm.
another way of doing it too, of like you can still work your corporate job and use every spare moment that you can physically and energetically do to devoting yourself to building your soul purpose path, your business, your spiritual led biz, or whatever it is that you're building. It's like you can do both at the same time, so that at one point it becomes like maybe this is your corporate time is like being spent here, and then every moment is being spent here until you build the foundations, and then eventually it's like completely switched, and then you can take the leap at this point because you built the foundations and you're able to go into that space. But yeah, for me at the beginning, it was like, yeah, I was balancing both for a little bit, for a couple of years actually, because I was
Yeah.
still figuring out my path. Like the reason why I have all of these certifications is because I was in a phase of exploring, like, oh, I want to do breath work. Actually, I want to do sound healing. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. And like now it's all merged together, which is beautiful. But at the time, I didn't know where these certifications were leading me. I just was following my joy and following curiosity. And so I was doing that while I was working my corporate career. And then after, X amount of time, now I'm able to do this full time.
That's amazing. And I think that's like so important to those 2 points that you mentioned that I wanted to come back to. Like one, I think we see so much on social media, of course, like we see a lot of the highlights, but there's so much around this overnight success where a lot of people, I think they're like, oh my gosh, look at this person. They just all of a sudden like became this six-figure business owner or the successful coach like overnight, but they don't see the years and years that went into it, the investment, the time, which a corporate job while you're building your business does allow you to make those investments, does allow you to have that like nervous system regulation of like where's my next income coming in, not that pressure to like get the clients, because it takes time, right, to build. I know you've got really great communities like on TikTok and Instagram as well, and it's taken you over a few years, right, to build up these communities and these relationships, like to have this successful business. And I know you do retreats as well, which we'll get into in a minute. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that as well, like what's sort of your view or yeah, just your view on that overnight success like projection that so many of us see and what it actually takes.
I just don't believe in overnight success, to be
Yeah.
honest. I think that, and even myself, I really try hard not to make sure that I'm not portraying myself as if this happened overnight, because like I think what's really important as a leader in this space and as
Mhm.
someone who also teaches other people how to step into this space is that we have to be authentic and we have to be true about our journey of what it took to get here. And to me, my journey of what it took to get here wasn't an overnight thing. It was actually my entire freaking life. It was every
Yeah.
single moment of my life has led to this moment, right? As it has with all of us. And one of my most favorite quotes is like, own lane, own race, own pace. And it's like, you know, just like
Mhm.
putting the blinders on and just like knowing that this is your own race and you're not competing against anyone and your path is so divine, and like trusting your journey and trusting the timing of it and trusting the unfolding of it. Because like where you are right now, you might not recognize where this is leading you until you get there, kind of thing.
Mhm.
So for me, like, yeah, I have a global retreat company and I do all of these things, but it's only because I grew up all over the world when I grew up. So I'm a really good traveler, and I've actually hosted retreats for more than 4 years. Even though Coherence launched like last year, I've actually been doing this for many years. So it's like
Yeah.
that overnight success didn't happen overnight. It happened through years of building the foundations of things. And like, it doesn't need to always take years for people. That was just my journey. But I definitely don't think overnight success is real, or even if it is real, like I don't believe it's sustainable. Like you
No,
have to
I
have this
agree.
foundations of your business in order for it to be sustainable, you know? So that's where what I feel about that whole thing.
Yeah, I can completely agree with you on that because I think, like I said, so many of us see it, or like maybe in business you might have a big income month or sales month, but like maybe the next is not because those foundations aren't in place as well. And I love that you mentioned like being in your own lane as well. I think that's so important because, there's so much around comparison that gets caught up. I know a lot of the women that I do in my coaching space as well. Like that's one of the biggest things that comes up for them a lot is like comparison of what we see online. And it's important to like
Mhm.
realize we're only seeing a lot of the highlight reel as well, right? And like everyone is on their own journey. And I love that you mentioned like it's like my whole life has led up to this moment where it's true. We sort of think that like, oh, it's only been like 3, 4 years since I've been doing this, but it's true. It's your whole life, right? Like you mentioned the traveling, following your joy. I love that you mentioned that as well. Like versus I think we get so stuck in this, like, I have to make this happen, like that very masculine tendency to way of being when it's like, when can you lean back, be more in your feminine and follow that like joy, that alignment, like what's lighting you up? And that's going to leave breadcrumbs to like following more into your purpose as well.
Totally.
Yeah, amazing. So I'd love to talk about your retreats company as well because they look incredible, the retreats that you're hosting globally. How did you get started in the retreat space and like how did that, yeah, what was that, the beginning stages of that like?
So the beginning stages, again, we can start back from the day I was born, right? My whole life has led to this moment. But like,
Yeah.
yeah, I grew up all over the world. And I'm a very big traveler. Traveler is just like a non-negotiable for me. It's the way
Mm.
I've lived my life my whole life, and I'll never stop until the day I die traveling. So I love to travel. And yeah, I think when I had moved to LA for the first time, I've never been on like the West Coast really. So when I moved to LA, I was like, I want to travel California. I want to see Joshua Tree and Yosemite and Big Bear and all these cool places that just California had to offer. But I didn't really know that many people. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get the very few people I know, and everyone get your friends and your friends of friends. And just like, we're going to have a weekend getaway in Joshua Tree. And anyone who shows up to our weekend getaway has to bring an offering to the getaway, to the weekend. So that it's not just led by me, but it's held as a collective effort. So
Yeah.
everyone who came to that weekend, like someone would bring lead a yoga class, someone would, bring their guitar and sing a song around the campfire, someone would like take
Love it.
photos, someone would cook a meal, and like if some guy brought a pinata because he didn't know what else to bring. So he brought a pinata, so he brought games. And it was just like so much fun. And we had like 16 people show up for the first one. And then we called it Collective Getaway. So I did a couple weekends called Collective Getaway, where it's like a very informal getaway, not even an official retreat yet. And it was just super fun. It was a super just like fun way to meet people, fun way to travel California. And yeah, after Collective Getaway, I also just like started doing group trips for my friends, like all around, like in Sedona and like in other areas of California or in Costa Rica. I just like started doing group trips with friends. So um yeah, I became pretty good at it. And then after COVID kind of shut us down for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
At that point, I was like super deep in my spiritual journey and starting to step into my um starting to step into my path as a leader. So around COVID is when I got like most of my certifications. And when it started loosening up, that's when I started like really coming through as a leader of like someone who holds space in women's circles, a sound healer, breath work. And I was like, okay, I'm ready to turn Collective Getaway, which was just an informal getaway, into an official retreat. So I didn't like at this point, I honestly didn't have that many followers. It wasn't even like a huge, I wasn't even charging a lot. Like I was like, not, it wasn't even about the money, like
Yeah.
whatsoever. It was just for me to learn and because I loved it. So I charged enough just to break even and just like give these girls a really cool experience. So then we started hosting retreats and just for my just for my community of women who showed up for sound baths and women's circles and things like that, I sold out of every single Collective Getaway like official women's retreat. So I started doing that for a few years, on again and off again. Like in like 2019 we did some, 2020 didn't, 2021 we did some, 2022 we didn't, 2023 we did some. And then in 2023, I rebranded the company and I was like, I've been doing this for so long. I'm ready to like bring this to the next level. Collective Getaway was a great learning experience and it was the business in its teenage years, but now I'm ready to up level this entire business into its like grounded adulthood goddess energy that it is.
Mm,
So that's when I launched Coherence, and Coherence is like its own beautiful entity of a retreat company where now we're bringing in facilitators from all around the world, where it's not just led by me. Like this is its own business in a way that gets to be created with so many other people. It's like a co-creation. Like it's so beautiful.
mm.
Like now we are going to bigger and better locations. We have private chefs on site. We have the more amazing facilitators coming on, like really well-known facilitators coming on to lead the retreats other than just me, which I still love leading retreats, but like the way the business is growing, I'm not going to lead every single one. We're going to just continue to bring on more people, and more people get to experience this magic from all different types of communities too. So yeah, bigger and better locations, better facilitators, private chefs, it's just like so much more grounded. They're all inclusive retreats other than your flights, like everything's
Mm.
included, and they're just magic. They're just like portals of transformation. I just finished one last month in Sedona, which was amazing. I'm
Wow.
about to hop on a retreat in literally 3 days in Costa Rica. And then we have Josh Retreat coming up in early May, and then Portugal in mid-June, and we're sold out of all of them.
Wow.
Like, you
That's
know, so
amazing.
yeah, it's just so special, but it's also retreats are to me something that has really been the thing that has intertwined everything that I love to do, of like travel, organization, spirituality, wellness, like, you know, being in dope locations. So it's just they're just so powerful. I think to me, like I love coaching, but that in-person experience is unlike any other. So yeah, I love retreats.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I actually used to do retreats planning, events planning is my background. So I started as the VA, went into retreat planning and coaching, but now looking back, I kind of see how they all sort of align together as well, like bringing that into experience. And I retreats, there's no other transformation I think that happens. And like being in that space, women coming together, being in the sacred space, feeling safe to like open up and to share. And it's just so powerful. I actually just hosted my first in-person like day retreat yesterday with some women here in Edinburgh. And it was sorry on Saturday, but it was such an amazing experience.
Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was the first time like hosting. Before I was always like behind the scenes planning for others. So it was such an incredible experience. And it's just like the the feeling you get, I think, when you have all those women in the space, and I'm sure you'll know this as well, but it's just like it just touches your heart in such an amazing way. Like just everyone coming off, masks off, sharing how they're feeling safe to open up. Like it's just amazing. And you meet like your soul sisters on retreats as well.
You really do. You meet your soul family. And I have witnessed the biggest transformations for some of my clients coming out of our retreats of like just this last retreat in Sedona. One of my clients was like, I'm having the best sex of my life right now with my partner because I've leaned deeper into my feminine energy. Another client reached out. She
Wow.
said, Kim, I lost I lost a gene size, like an entire gene size, because I released so much like trauma that I was holding on to in the body, that I came back
Mm.
out of the retreat, that I literally lost a gene size. And like it's just, oh my God. And like another woman is stepping into, she's like quitting her job and stepping into something else. And another woman just got a 20K raise. I'm like, you guys, this is one retreat, like one retreat, and all of these
Wow.
massive wins. It's just so beautiful. Like the transformations I get to witness of women and men. We're opening up to men too.
Okay, amazing.
Um, yeah, who leave our retreats. It's like really, really powerful. So yeah, I agree. And then congratulations on that. I'm sure that like
Thank you.
this is the ripple effect, right? You get to have create these vortexes,
Mm.
these places of, yeah, vortexes and powerful portals of transformation. And then you have your clients come in, and these beautiful soul tribe and sisters come in, and then they leave, and it's a ripple effect. And then they
Yeah.
get to affect their family and their community and their kids and their friends and their family. And it's just like, it's the ripple effect. And it's just really beautiful to witness.
Yeah, I totally agree. What would you like if someone were to be coming on your retreat, like what is something they can expect? Like what's the experience like that they can expect to have coming on one of your retreats?
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, it depends on which one you come to, because every single location has its own vibe. But you can every single retreat you can expect definitely like being deeply immersed in nature and like connecting to Mother Earth in another way, disconnecting from your day-to-day reality so that you can reconnect back to yourself, reconnect back to soul tribe, soul sisters, and the universe. You can expect to meet people who you deeply resonate with, who you've maybe felt like you've known for lifetimes, even though you
Mm.
just met. You can expect to, yeah, keep in touch with these people that you meet on the retreat for years to come. A lot of people of our on our retreats like meet up with each other afterwards, and it's really beautiful to witness. You can expect all these different types of healing and spiritual modalities, whether that's breath work or yoga or plant medicine or yeah, just other depending on the facilitator, what other activations they want to bring in or workshops they want to bring in, because every facilitator is a little bit different. But
Mm.
yeah, a little spice of magic of spirituality, and you can just expect an awesome freaking time, like a portal of high vibration, and yeah, they're really unlike any other. So they're great.
I love that. That's so beautiful. Yeah, like retreats are just like it's like personal development, transformation, and holiday, like in one relaxation connection. It's like, yeah, like you said, just a vortex. So amazing. What's one of like the most transformative experiences you've had yourself from being on retreat before?
Yeah, it's interesting because as the host and facilitator of retreats, like you are giving so much, but you're also receiving so much. I have never
Mhm.
like not bawled my eyes off out at like a retreat that I've
Right?
hosted,
I
because
know.
it's just like the amount of just gratitude, of deep, deep gratitude that I get to receive for these beautiful souls coming into my spaces and fully trusting us to
Hmm.
hold the space through their transformation. It's like it really strips you down of like your ego and of all your masks and all of these things, where you just become this like raw channel of source energy, and you become so this raw version of yourself. And that's what I felt like. I've just felt so raw and seen, and also like so grounded and like so supportive for other people. And I just like receive so much gratitude and like deep, deep, deep feelings of love and connection and gratitude and healing as well. Like I get to heal parts of myself as a facilitator too. So I love them. Everyone wins.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It is exactly you said. There's so much gratitude and like emotion and just I feel like beauty as well. Just seeing everyone like as them, like all the masks off, just like in your pure
Mhm.
authenticity around like speaking what's going on for them and just like without that judgment, I think is so healing and especially women and men both like need that space so much. So yeah, thank
Yeah.
you so much for sharing that. And what would you say, because like it seems like your retreat business is just really done like amazing and it's just grown so much. What would you say has been sort of like the most challenging aspect of kind of starting a retreat business?
I think that a lot of people, when they're first stepping into this space, don't realize the amount of work that goes into pre-retreat.
Yeah.
Like, I think people step into retreats being like, this looks like fun, cool, I'm gonna just do it, but like have no actual clue on like the amount of effort and work that it takes in the back end to book the property, negotiate, have an application process, a landing page, book. I book retreats 12 to 8 months in advance in terms of booking the
Yeah.
property. And I launch a retreat 7 to 6 months in advance so that it can fill. Like those are just things that you should know. Like there's a lot of like just back end systems that people don't fully grasp until they're in it. And that's to me is like I wouldn't call it's challenging, but I wouldn't call it like challenging in a way that's like hard. It's just challenging in a way of like, this is the work like that I
Yeah.
get to do, that I chose to do. And I actually love the work that I love this part of the hosting retreats. Like I do love the masculine back end side of things too. Um, but yeah, to other people, it can be super challenging if you don't have those systems in place and if you don't know how to market your retreat properly either. That's another big one. Like a lot of people will like host, like throw a retreat, not market it properly, then not fill it, and then lose profit. Like a lot of people come to me are like, "Oh
Yeah.
my God, you make money on retreats?" Because like most people lose money on retreats, which is really sad because you can totally turn it into a thriving business if you do it correctly. But there's a lot of things in the back end that you need to know first.
Yeah, definitely. I took this retreat planning mastermind course before when I was doing it, and there was so much to know because I find like with my events planning background, like still retreats is so very different and there's still so much to know. But yeah, the marketing aspect is it's like even with events, it's completely different, the marketing aspect. I'm not an expert by any means, but would there be like a piece of advice you'd want to give to anyone who was looking to sort of like market their retreat, like maybe one of the biggest learning curves you've had along the way?
I just think focus on the transformation that people are going to get and show that off,
Yeah.
and like show off what the transformation that they're going to get, and like um and just like the experience in general. So for Coherence, we really focus on like this is the location that you're going to do look at, like this is the location that you're going to be at, look at all of the beauty, like don't you want to be here, and this is the property that we're staying, because we also were Coherence, we book the dopest bestest properties in the world, so
Yeah.
we show that off, like we really push like what you're getting when you invest in yourself for this retreat, the transformation that you're going to get, and also the beauty of the place that you're going to be at. So yeah, just show them, really show them. And I do a lot of videos and also testimonials. Get testimonials if you can. That's really important. Like if you go to coherence.com, you'll see like there's like 30 testimonials at the bottom of the page that we get to
Definitely.
really just like show people.
Yeah, I think that's so important because retreats is like it's such a intimate space that like you want to it's the vibe and the energy, right? Environment is so important. So I love that you're like, yes, we have the dopest places. But it's also
Mhm.
like the people because you can have like one person who maybe is completely off energy from the rest of the group, which can change the dynamic so much as well. Do you go through like an interview process with people coming on your retreats?
We do. Yeah. We have an
Yeah,
application process,
yeah,
and we talk to you because, and a lot of retreats companies don't do that, but we will, because exactly what you just said, like our retreats are pretty intimate. They're like 10 to
yeah,
20 people. And yeah, we want to make sure that you know who you're coming into this space with. Like if you've never even traveled in your whole life and you're going to travel to Europe for the first time and meet like 10 other strangers, like we want to make sure that we're not like just a face on social media to you. Like I want you to meet me and like, or meet the
yeah.
facilitator and feel comfortable with us. And I think that that's something that Coherence does that's really special and really different than a lot of other retreat companies, because a lot of retreat companies you can just go to bookretreats.com and just buy it and then you're off. But for us, like, no, we want to meet you, and also we want to make sure that this is the right retreat for you too. Like if you're going to invest your money and invest your time and take off work and do all the things, and want to come here for a transformational experience that it's going to be like a once in a lifetime thing, like we want to make sure that we're providing that for you. So sometimes we'll get on a call with someone and we'll say, you know what, maybe this retreat isn't the best for you, but this other one will be a lot better fit based on like the vibe that I'm getting from you and the people and the women that we've gotten so far. So we'll be very honest about that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that's so important because like I said, it could be the maybe not the right experience for that person, for the rest of the group. Like you said, if they're traveling for the first time and it isn't intimate, like you want to have that connection of people like feeling close, like that sisterhood connection if you're spending that much time together and opening up. So yeah, I think that's so important that you do that. I'd love to talk about as well manifestation. Being manifestation being my jam. And I know you talk a lot about manifestation as well. What has been some of like the most incredible things you've manifested into your life?
My whole life is like a
I love
beautiful,
that.
I'm literally like
Your
right now, just
masterpiece of
like,
art.
I know, I'm reading The Artist Way right now. So I'm like really like in my artist
Mm,
archetype at the moment. But like it's funny because with manifestation, like you're like, oh, I want this and I desire this and I want that. And I'm like, I'm fucking good. Like I feel great. Like there's nothing like, yes, it can always get better. But like, I'm also not at a place where I feel scarcity at all, or that I feel like I'm really needing anything else, because I
mm.
feel like life has been so good to me, and blessings on blessings on blessings. Like I've manifested my retreat business, and I've manifested, hundreds of clients coming through on my coaching containers. I've manifested like getting selling out of every retreat that we've ever had. I've manifested this beautiful property in Costa Rica that I'm sitting at right now, watching the surf and watching the waves. I've manifested a beautiful home in Austin with my partner and with my fiance and my dog. I've manifested an amazing community of people and incredibly deep friendships with my and sisterhood and tribe. And like I'm just like, there's nothing, I'm good, and
Oh, that's amazing.
my whole life is just blessings on blessings.
Oh, that's so amazing. I love that. And it's like that's like such a key part of the manifestation, regardless where you are, is like really being like content with where you're at, even though maybe you are manifesting
Mm.
more, but being like, I'm content and like happy as you are. Like I think that's such a key factor. What would be one of like your biggest manifestation advice for someone listening?
Yeah, I would say just that, like tapping back into the frequencies of gratitude, like deep gratitude. And like something that for me that I really am trying to practice more of is like when things don't go your way, like being really okay with it too. Like even
Mm, the
yesterday,
hard
we
part.
went out to this like little Tico Costa Rican restaurant, and I ordered a fried fish, and I waited an hour for this fish, and I was like so upset because I was really hungry, and I was like, they forgot my fish, and I was like, Kim, I was like having a whole argument in my mind of like, you need to practice patience because patience is not one of my strongest suits. So I was like, just practice
Oh, I
patience.
feel you.
It's okay. Maybe
I
they're
struggle
on
too.
just Tico time. They're on island time. It's okay. And then I eventually was like, I'm going to get up and just ask this lady, where's my fish? So I did. I was like, where's my fish? And you know what? She freaking forgot. I was like, God damn it. I could have said this, stopped this so long ago. And then instead of like being really upset about it, I was just like, you know what? Maybe if I ate this fish, it would have poisoned me, and I would have gone food poisoning before my retreat. And like everything's actually working out for me. Everything, even when things feel really like they're not working out for me, they're working out for me always. And like that's
Yeah.
something about manifestation that you really need to come down to, is like everything's working in your favor at all times, especially when it seems like it's not. It is. So that's something that a truth that I always find myself coming back to.
That is so beautiful. And I think that's such a hard part because it's so easy when life is going great, be like, oh my God, everything's amazing, manifestation's easy, everything's working out for me. But when things do get hard and go the wrong way, it's like, oh my God, now everything's going against me and falling into that victim mindset, but still kind of leaning back, surrendering and trusting the process. I think that is a very difficult thing for people to do, but being able to remind yourself to come back to that so important. And yeah, I love that like you're like, well, maybe I would have got poisoned instead. So it's like true. Like, can you imagine that
Yeah.
happen, right? It's like,
I would have
you
been
just never
so
know.
mad. And you
Exactly.
know what? We actually won at the end of the day, because instead of like them frying me the fish that would have poisoned me, let's just say in another timeline, where we bought a fish from the restaurant, like a raw fish, and we're like, we'll just buy the fish and we're gonna cook it at home. So that's what we did. We ended up having, they like sold us like a uncooked fish, and then we took it home and cooked it ourselves. So everything worked out.
Oh, that's good. That actually sounds really
Yeah.
nice. It's
Hmm.
interesting what you're talking about when you're saying like everything's working out for me. So just the other day I was like out for this walk, and I was like navigating a bit of a personal thing at the moment. And I was just saying, I was like, universe, show me a sign, like show me a sign everything is working out. And I was listening to a Joe Dispenza like guided meditation as I was walking. And at one point he was just saying, there is a power within you that has so much love for you, or something like this, or there's a force that has so much love for you. And for no apparent reason, like I was just walking in this nature, I just turned around when he said that. On this tree was like this wooden heart. And I was like, right when I was like, universe, show me a sign. And Joe Dispenza's like, there's a power that has so much love within you. I turned around, there's this heart on the tree. There's nobody around. I was like, I had such body chills and I just had tears in my eyes. I was like, wow, if there's ever a sign, that was it. And I was just like, okay, my faith has been restored. All is good. I was like, I give it
Yeah, the
up to you.
universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing about our retreats is like when we're at retreats, so much like actual magic like that happens that like it's
Yeah.
like we're part of us humans are like, oh my God, we're so surprised and the universe is so magical. And then part of me is like, yeah, but like obviously, like that, of
Of
course,
course,
it's
right?
like,
Yeah, of course.
why are we always surprised at this? Like, why are we
Yeah.
surprised when the universe like gives us signs? Because like it just it's cool. It's really cool to witness, but also it's like, ah, this is the life we get to live of like a life filled with magic and synchronicities and signs and all the things.
Definitely. And I think it's just so beautiful to have those little reminders sometimes when our like
Mhm.
human brain gets too much in the way and we're disconnected from that like consciousness, right? Because we are in that flow and that vortex. I think that's when we can be much more connected to those signs as well. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. Amazing. Well, Kim, just as we're kind of wrapping up the conversation, I know you've got the shift, your 12-week course coming up. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about that, or people can find you?
Totally. Yeah. So the shift is my signature group coaching container where I really help both the aspiring entrepreneur as well as current practitioners that are ready to really hit their next levels of wealth and income and impact. And we go through 12 weeks of meeting live and we go through everything from discovering your offering, what it is that you need to offer, should be offering to the world of spiritual entrepreneur, to launching online, how to launch online, the foundational systems and softwares you should have in place to launch online, whether that's coaching or master classes or courses or virtual circles. We also go over how to facilitate women's circles, how
Mm,
to host retreats is a big one that we go over. And then we also go over like more of the energetics behind a successful spiritual entrepreneurs. So money mindset, marketing correctly, the CEO frequency, and so much more. So that's my signature 12-week program. We run it every like 3 to 4 months. My next one's coming up at the end of April. And then after that, it'll be um, probably around September, October timeframe of this year, and then more coming out after that. And yeah, that's my coaching container. I also do one-on-one coaching, but only for a very small group of women at once. And then my retreats as well, Coherence Retreats. You can look us up. We're sold out of most of our retreats this year, but we'll be announcing more soon.
amazing. I'll put all the links in the show notes as well, along with any socials also. Amazing. And is there one piece of advice you want to leave with the listeners today?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go back to what I started with. Is just like focus on making your life arts, right?
Mhm.
Focus on making your life magic and art, and you are the artist and the muse of your life. And just coming back to that truth, and you get to create everything that you desire. So yeah, just focus on making it beautiful, focus on making it art.
Amazing. Love that. Well, thank you so much, Kim, for coming on today. And yeah, we'll chat soon.